Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to all the panelists and attendees joining us today for the webinar on Building Bridges India Hong Kong Business Collaboration in the New Global Order. I am Sukriti Mehta, Marketing Manager at R&M India. I request you all to actively participate throughout the session. You can share your questions in the Q&A box down below. These will be taken up towards the end. We hope today's session and discussion will be insightful for all the participants. To start the session, I would now like to invite Mr. Ewan Marwah, Chairman of R&M India, to give the welcome note. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Sukhdev. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening to Mr. Wong and others from Hong Kong. It's been a privilege to welcome you all to this webinar. On behalf of R&M India, I extend my gratitude to each of you for taking the time off to join us today. We are truly honored to have you all and have such an esteemed panel of speakers who shall share their wealth of knowledge and expertise. Parkar, welcome. He is a seasoned trade and investment promotion professional with over a decade of international experience. He currently represents Invest Hong Kong, the Hong Kong government's investment promotion agency, where he has spent around 3 years in attracting strategic investments from investors. Naidat has worked extensively with global clients across Scandinavia, Europe, and Asia, advising on market entry strategy, international trade, and government. Welcome, Ninad. We, of course, have Thomas Wong, who is a seasoned professional in business advisory and global investment promotion from Hong Kong, having extensive international experience. As a partner of CWCPA, he has been instrumental in guiding organizations through cross-border strategies, market expansion, and strategic collaborations. With a global perspective and a focus on sustained growth, Thomas leverages his expertise to create meaningful business connections across borders, enabling clients to unlock new opportunities and values and thrive in this ever-evolving international landscape. At CWCPA, Thomas leads a team of multinational, culturally adept, and multilingual professionals, having services in audit, tax, corporate, secretarial, business outsourcing, with a footprint across Hong Kong, England, China, Spain, and London. We have Abhishek Gupta, who is a chartered accountant and a seasoned banker with over 18 years of experience with the Hong Kong banking system. He has previously served as the business head for the NRI and high net worth segment in ICICI Bank, Hong Kong, and currently is a director in private banking at DBS, Hong Kong. With his expertise in international investments and structured deals across geographies, he will offer invaluable insights and to the practicalities of making overseas investments. We have Jagruti, who is a versatile chartered accountant operating out of Mumbai. He is a partner in R&M India for transaction and regulatory advisory services. She has 28 years of experience in corporate restructuring, mergers, amalgamations, valuations, due diligence, private deals and acquisitions, and much more. She is one of the conveners of the General Committee of Chamber of Tax Consultants and is also a member for Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of WIRC, Institute of Chartered Accountants. Last, we are awaiting him, is Pulastya Sachdev. He is the founder and chief investment officer at the Cross Cap, where he brings a strategic vision and entrepreneurial spirit to the world of investment and finance. With extensive experience in building and managing innovative financial strategies, he has been instrumental in driving growth. He has a sharp analytical expertise and has established himself as a dynamic leader in capital management. We look forward to it. We thank all of you to be here, and I would now like Raghu Marwah to take over and bring the session to note. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you so much. The topic, of course, that we have today is building bridges, India-Hong Kong business collaborations in the new global order. So I'd like to start by talking about India and Hong Kong trade and commerce, which is about $29 billion per year of bilateral trade. And talking a little bit about the new global order, where post the Trump tariff, I think most countries are realigning their positions, their friends, their suppliers, their business partners. And in this backdrop, we felt India and Hong Kong, and talking about the benefits of India and Hong Kong trade is very timely. I'd like to also quote Leonardo da Vinci, who said, "Learning never exhausts the mind." So, with that, I'm going to start with our first speaker for the day, Mr. Thomas Wong, to provide his thoughts on how to open a Hong Kong company. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raghu, and thank you, Chairman, for the kind introduction. First of all, I'm very honored, to be a speaker here today to talk about Hong Kong, which is a city of China. And the good point before I start on with my presentation, I would like to bring forward a news to everyone is that Hong Kong is ranked as the number three financial center in the world, which is after New York and London, and also is ranked as the freest economy in the world, which is a very, very significant milestone or significant, status, for this city of China. So I see that a lot of overseas company, including from India, will use Hong Kong as a hub to go to China. And reversely, China mainland businessmen will use Hong Kong as a hub to go to India. But why Hong Kong and India and China so much the topic nowadays, talk about so frequently is because the India's Prime Minister Modi visited China and shook hands with our President Xi Jinping, which is a very significant testimony of the friendship between India, Hong Kong, and China. So without further ado, I would like to talk about something about Hong Kong, why Hong Kong is a very important hub for doing business between India, using Hong Kong as a hub to go to China, and reversely, China using Hong Kong as a hub to go to India. Okay, Vivian. So Hong Kong investment climate, I want to say a few words about. Hong Kong is Asia's world city. This is undeniable, so Hong Kong is the Asia's world city, which because we are the freest economy in the world, and then we are the third financial center in the world now. So we even though we have a small population of 7.5 million, but the aging population is getting a little bit worse and worse now. People over 60 years old, I think about 1/3 of the population. Yeah, I'm 65. That means I have over 40 years of experience as an accountant. So I'm speaking to you as an old man to all of you. Okay, next page. Advantages of Hong Kong is Hong Kong being the city of China, we have a low and straightforward tax system, which the profit tax rate is 16.5%. And a lot of people will use Hong Kong as a hub to go into China because China's tax rate is 25%, and use Hong Kong as a hub to do a little bit of a legitimate tax planning. And then the second point is we have a free trade and a free market. Because we are the freest economy in the world now, and English as the language, which is very popular. English is a very popular language, and then it's good that India use also English, and then we also Hong Kong use. Most of us we understand English because both India and Hong Kong were under British rule before. Okay, we were colonies before. I think we share the same fate. Okay, next page. Hong Kong taxation, I would like to talk a little bit. Carry on as a very, very, very simple tax rate in Hong Kong is 16.5%. But the only thing is that Hong Kong tax system is very simple, is territorial concept. Territorial concept. That is to say that if every profit you make onshore within Hong Kong, it is taxable. If it is not made onshore, it might not be taxable. You have to argue with the inland revenue. And for this, I think I can give advice to all of you in future. Okay, the next page. The province tax rate is 16.5%, but we have a two-tiered tax system, meaning that the first $2 million profit is only subject to 8.25% tax. This is something a lot of people don't know. So which is very low, 8.25 and 16.5%, very, very low. Okay, it's very good for technology startup to have a startup company in Hong Kong. Next page. And province tax exemption, well, we will give advice to all of you: expenses, interest and rental, bad debts, repairs, IP registration and IP purchases, intellectual property registration, and then the retirement fund contribution and even donation. If you donate money to a charitable organization, it is tax exempted. But for this, I won't go into details to all of you here because I only have limited time to do the presentation. So a lot of expenses are deductible in Hong Kong. I only say this. Okay, next page. Hong Kong plays host to a wide variety of business sector, including professional service like our services, like accounting services, creative industry, financial service, in IT, consumer products, family office, financial technology, fintech, IT, transport and industrial, and tourism and hospitality. I won't go into details here, but what I think that what India would be interested in Hong Kong is not just only manufacturing, using Hong Kong as a hub to go to China to go manufacturing, but also family office and fintech, the higher end, okay, the upper end strata. Next page. Hong Kong's strategic position is a service-oriented economy, and then we are a renminbi business hub because Hong Kong is the largest renminbi, which is the legitimate currency of China, and then China has parked a lot of currency in Hong Kong, using Hong Kong as a renminbi currency hub. And then Hong Kong has also strategic position as the financial center in the world. Just now I mentioned that we are the number 3 in the world now. And then innovation and technology, which we are in alignment with China's blueprint, that we are cooperating a lot with China on IT. We have 2 major IT hubs in Hong Kong: Science Park, and then the second one is Cyberport. For this, if the technology startups from India, if they want to use Hong Kong as a hub to go to China, can come to me and I will give you some advice. My team will give you some free advice because we are a very good friend of R&M, the CPA firm, which hosted this webinar today. Okay, next page. Strategic first step to India will be strategic location and infrastructure. Now I'm talking about the reverse trend. A lot of mainland companies would use Hong Kong as a hub to go to India because now we have a program of going out. China has a program of going out, helping a lot of mainland companies to go out. And then is ease of capital movement. If using Hong Kong as a hub to go overseas, it create a movement of ease, for capital to go out. And then this is very important. Hong Kong has signed a double tax agreement, with India, and then it will reduce a lot of tax burden. For this, I won't go into detail here again. If you want to know more about the double tax avoidance agreement, we call DTAA, you can write to me. Trade and supply advantages, of course, we are doing a lot. I recall that in the year 1980, when I was still studying, Hong Kong was a manufacturing city, and then we slowly changed it to a financial city. And now I think we are at the crossroad of changing Hong Kong to an IT hub and a financial hub, a world-class financial hub using IT. Okay, next page. Options of establishment. Now this is something very technical. If someone wants to open an office in Hong Kong, you can open a representative office, a branch, or subsidiary. Next page. I can give you some advice on this. Setting up a subsidiary in form of a private limited company by shares. Normally, a lot of people in Hong Kong, a lot of people from overseas, if they want to set a company in Hong Kong, they will use a private company with shares, limited by shares, all right? And it only requires one shareholder, one director, and that's it. One director and one shareholder. We have ready-made companies, for overseas company. The minimum capital is 10,000 Hong Kong dollars. 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is very little money. One director and one shareholder. It can be an overseas director. It can be an overseas shareholder, natural person. Okay. In other words, if you hold a legitimate Indian passport, you can be an owner of a Hong Kong company. The formation process is fairly simple. I don't want to go into details. If you write to me, I will ask my girl's company secretarial head to give you an answer. So what is important is that some application can be delivered via e-registry, electronic, with the registrar in Hong Kong. Okay, electronic registration, and an application can be delivered very fast.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Thomas. I think this is such a great presentation. I think, very, very in-depth presentation about Hong Kong, about the history, about the company and the bank. I'm just going to let Abhishek, who is joined us from TBS, will maybe take on from you on the banking side at the opportune time. In light of time, I'm going to request that maybe we move on. I hope you don't mind, Thomas. My next speaker for the day is Mr. Polastya Sachdev, and Polastya Sachdev is going to talk about Indian equity markets. We've heard a lot about Hong Kong and the advantages as a brilliant Asian city, one of the three biggest financial centers. So I want to balance that by requesting Polastya to talk a little bit about the Indian equity market and what he sees as the way forward, the potential, and some of the opportunities in the equity market. Over to you, Polastya.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. Am I audible?
Yes, perfect.
So good afternoon, friends within India, and good evening to friends in Hong Kong, China. As you know that, India is one of the fastest economies in the world. Last GDP figure showed a growth of north of 7%. Coming to the markets, as people say, markets are a reflection of the economy. The Indian market is one of the best economies, fastest performing markets in the world in the last 15 odd years. We've been compounding at north of 13%, which is equivalent to the US, which includes the last 2 years in the US, which has seen a stellar run. Having said that, I think going forward, with the kind of young population we have, demographics, we feel that we could compound at 12-13% for the next few years as well. As Raghu mentioned, India is in a very sweet spot. Though there's been a lot of noise about the tariffs, we feel that India will continue to do well, and India will be overall a net beneficiary of these tariffs all over the world. Interesting point, Thomas mentioned that Hong Kong has become a a financial hub from being a manufacturing hub. India is the other way around at the moment. India was always known as the back office of the world, IT, software, a lot of consultancy. And as we speak, a lot of manufacturing shifted to India, across sectors. So very stable government. Last 1 year, we've seen a plethora of reforms, first on the income tax cuts and recently on the GST cuts. We feel this is going to drive consumption. As I mentioned, young country, people are just, ready to spend on the next vehicle, on the next home, on the next vacation. So all these things will drive equity going forward as well. So we feel India is at a sweet spot, and the markets could compound over 13% going forward as well.
Is there any particular area in the equity market that you're particularly excited about? Maybe small cap or mid cap space. Some tips that you want to give to some of the audience members, Palastia?
Yeah, so tips are injurious to health. Let me just put it like that. So yes, you're right. I think the real wealth has been created in these small mid caps in India over the last decade or maybe 2 decades. So that continues to be an exciting space. Having said that, I think it's very opportunity specific. You got to look at the fundamentals of the company or the sector, and obviously bet on the management. I think the real money is made on the management. How big the management want to grow, how professionally they want to grow, how clean the government, how clean the corporate governance and the balance sheet is. I think that's where the real wealth is created. So I think it's a very opportunity specific market and continues to be do so.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Palastia, for that. I'm going to now request Ninad, who is from HK Invest, to talk a little bit about HK family offices and, of course, a little bit about the whole Hong Kong. Over to you, Ninad.
Okay, hi, thank you. My name is Nath Parkar. I represent Invest Hong Kong, which is a dedicated department, government department to help facilitate overseas companies to set up and expand their business in and out of Hong Kong. Now, being a government department, all of our services are free of cost, complimentary, and absolutely, privately consulted to all of the companies on single hand. We assist. We can assist on practical advices on business setup, introduction to regulators, service providers, providing you a networking platform, and also offer you some expansion opportunities. I am based out of Mumbai, but Invest Hong Kong have got offices across 34 countries. At headquarters, we of course we are sector agnostic. We have 10 different sector teams, and within Invest Hong Kong, we also have a dedicated family office team focusing specifically on supporting family offices to set up and grow in Hong Kong. Now, if I have to talk about the family office ecosystem, family office is not a new concept in Hong Kong. In fact, in Asia, Hong Kong has a long history of wealthy families managing and growing their legacy. And as of today, we have over 2,700 single family offices. Hence, we are also considered the number one family office hub in Asia. I'm happy to report that few days back, our family office Hong Kong team had reported that we have exceeded this year's target of attracting 200 families in Hong Kong, which is ahead of schedule, and we do have some couple of months left in hand. So we are very positive of attracting global family offices to Hong Kong. The primary reason I would say is that we were able to achieve this tremendous number or the milestone is because of the supportive policies, the tax concessions, a dedicated policy framework. We have world-class universities, professional service providers, a very large network of banks, law firms, tax experts who are there to support all global families who are looking or exploring Hong Kong side. We've also started a few years back the Wealth for Good in Hong Kong. Now, again, this is a global platform for investors to discuss how wealth can drive positive change from Hong Kong. And if I have to talk about setting up a family office in Hong Kong, it is very easy. There is no prior approval needed from the government. You simply set up a private limited company, as Thomas previously showed in his slides. Uh, you just have to ensure that you meet three main criteria to enjoy zero tax concessions. First of the criteria is that you should manage at least 240 million Hong Kong dollars of assets, which is roughly 30 million USDs. You should have two full-time employees in Hong Kong. Now, again, these can be your family members or someone who you deeply trust. And third criteria is you should have at least 2 million Hong Kong dollars of operating expenditures, which is salaries, your office rents, bills, etc. And the most interesting part of running a family office is that you do not have to declare this anywhere. Last thing you want is you want to have a board in your hand saying that you run a family office. Um, Privacy is highly prioritized in Hong Kong. You do not have to declare anywhere. It's just at the time of tax filing, you have to show Inland Revenue Department that you meet this criteria, these three criterias, and you pay zero taxes. So this is more of a self-assessment basis, and uh, after you inform the Inland Revenue Department for the first year that you run a family office, and going forward for the next years, it is more on the autopilot. So it's very beneficial. As I said, I have a dedicated family office team operating from our Hong Kong office, and we will happy to have a more detailed discussions on any families or advisors that we have today joining this session to take up any queries that you may have. Um, now, I about the listed market opportunities. Now, for family offices who is interested in investing in public equities or listed securities in Hong Kong, there are certainly more benefits there. There are more than 2,600 listed companies. Again, Hong Kong still remains the top location globally for raising IPOs or Asian companies who are looking to access the global capital markets. I think Hong Kong is still the most attractive location to raise foreign capital. The policies are also very encouraging for family office to allocate more towards the listed or public markets. Meanwhile, we have seen that digital assets have picked up more popularity in Hong Kong. Now, a major advantage here is that investors who are looking to explore the China market can always enjoy the regulatory benefits or the legal protection that Hong Kong has to offer. Overall, if I have to sum it up, Hong Kong is very well positioned to remain a top destination for family offices seeking, looking to expand their operations beyond Asia.
Thank you so much, Ninat, for that detailed exposition on family offices. And it reminds me of something that Warren Buffett had said: leave your children enough so they can do anything, but not enough so they can do nothing. So, really, family offices is all about a full time role that
Yeah.
somebody in the family has to really get into in terms of asset allocation, investment, dealing with investment equity gurus like Palastia, and also the jurisdiction like Ninad has just elaborated. That those things are very important. With that, I'm going to switch gears and move to Abhishek Gupta, who is a career banker, like we last heard. And Abhishek, if you could share your thoughts about Hong Kong, India investment opportunities. As a private banker, of course, you would be having various opportunities come to your desk and various kind of feedback that your clients would be giving you in live cases. So why don't you share some of that experience with us and talk a little bit about Hong Kong, India investment opportunities? Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Raghu. I have a long association with Raghu and RNM Group. Born and brought up in Delhi, now in Hong Kong for last 20 years. earlier my period spent with ICICI Bank, where I mostly handled NRI, ECA, ECB corporate partnerships with India. Now on the private banking side, more of investments, IPOs, family offices, those things coming to Hong Kong. So uh, if I just put in one line, Hong Kong would be one jurisdiction where just after staying 7 years, one can get the Hong Kong ID and then subsequently Hong Kong passport. And the taxation, in terms of taxation, the efficiency is such on the capital gains, dividends, and interest income, there is no taxation in Hong Kong. So people like to park money here. I'm representing today DPS Private Banking. In DPS Private Banking, we have various services, trust services, private trust companies, helping companies in doing their IPOs. So if I say Hong Kong is actually, in terms of market cap, it is 6 times of Singapore. Uh, and in terms of IPO, it has overtaken the NYSE and Nasdaq in one particular year. There are some 250 IPOs lined up for this particular year for Hong Kong. So in private banking, we have various opportunities starting from equities, regular fixed income bonds, private equity, private credit. There are funds, and then we have tailor-made one-to-one deals which are shown to the private banking clients, raising structured financing for private banking clients through Hong Kong or through some other markets. If I talk on the other side, from Hong Kong, there is also a lot of traction for the capital to move to India. So there are companies, especially in the SME sector, which are looking for investments in India in EV, battery pack, phone assembly line, solar panels, mobile phones. So these are the areas where Chinese companies, they are looking for joint ventures, partnership, or infusion of capital in various ways. That's the other side. Uh, from India, when companies, they are putting in money in Hong Kong, so they are using one of the routes, ODI, where 4 times of net worth can be brought to Hong Kong if the company is profitable in the last 3 years. OPI, where it is 50% of net worth. So those are the basically channels for larger money. And then LRS is obviously their $250,000 US, but that doesn't really help from the private banking setup perspective. If I go back to the Hong Kong advantage for private banking, it is gateway to China. The regulations are very clearly laid out, so there are generally nothing in which government is going retrospective. So taxation is low, free movement of capital. As it has already been discussed, the company can be purchased or made incorporated in one day. It's in terms of talent, government has got many schemes, quality migrant admission scheme. So right now there is a lot of focus when US is putting $100,000 on H1B, and there are maybe racial hate crimes and all. People are looking for an alternative. And if I talk about AI, in AI there are only two leaders. One is US, obviously we all know, but the second is China. And this is the time when the fulcrum can change. Hong Kong is inviting with open arms the talent from India. And if I talk about the safety, which has generally been projected in the media as a concern, I'm living here for last 20 years. This is one of the safest cities. Even at 2 a.m. in the morning, you are moving out with the family. No episodes. You leave your wallet in the mall, it will come back with the money in. So that's the kind of safety in Hong Kong. Uh, the government is looking at areas like AI, fintech, financial services, innovation, and technology, and this suits for the Indian talent. There were also episodes wherein the startups which are there in China, they were copied in India and then they have done very well, like food delivery, uh, ride hailing. Okay, it has got a global presence, but many of the ideas they have done well in China and then they have went to India. So the ideas which have done well, Chinese capital is ready to invest in those ideas in India, provided they have confidence on the who is what is the pedigree of people who are starting the startup. And prior to COVID, there used to be a lot of sessions here where Indian startups they used to showcase here to invite capital for their startups. There is a CIS program also in Hong Kong. If any Indian entity, Indian individual, they are putting in 30 million Hong Kong dollar, which is close to say 3.5 4 million US. They can get the Hong Kong ID, and after staying here or after spending time here for 7 years, they can go for the citizenship also. Why I just brought in this thing? As I mentioned, if we see the combination, Hong Kong passport supports something like 170 countries visa free, and wherein your there is no taxation of on your global wealth. There is no taxation even on your Hong Kong wealth. Capital gain, dividends, and interest income is tax free. Family offices, all the income can be tax free. In terms of trading, we already covered this particular point. If there are offshore income from trading or from services provided, there is no taxation in Hong Kong, provided subject to representation. So these were some of the topics which I wanted to touch upon, and I'm happy to take queries even now or later. My phone number and email will be available.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. I think this was great. I think the way you shared your personal experience that even the wallet will come back. Definitely, these things hit hard, in terms of safety. These are very important factors. I had one query, if you don't mind, your thoughts about Gift City. We were talking before the session started about Press Note 3 and its impact of FDI coming into India from China and maybe Hong Kong. But since Gift City is outside of the FEMA regulations in terms of treated as abroad or a non-resident jurisdiction, do you think that really is a game changer to kind of circumvent or avoid the Press Note 3 delays and regulatory challenges that a lot of people may otherwise face?
So, good question, Raghu. Gift City is actually a game changer, no doubt about that. I will also go to the extent people who were not talking about India a few years back, now they are talking. Gift City is coming into picture. I myself has held a few sessions for the Gift City in Hong Kong when I was working with ICICI Bank along with the consulate here. So in terms of setup, people exploring, people putting in money, that is happening. I won't be the right person to exactly comment on the PN3 applicability on the Gift City because being a chartered accountant, but I'm more of a banker now. So that is something to be checked, but definitely there is an interest. If I talk about the Chinese interest, they want to invest into Indian equities. They want to invest into Indian startups. They want to invest into the ideas which have done good in China and some of the industries which are moving from China to India
Yes.
because they know they've seen the success of those industries and they know with the same kind of population, same kind of demographic dividend, it is going to be replicated in India. So they want to write their capital there, and there are very limited avenues where the capital can be parked. You cannot park it in the aging societies like Japan or Europe. So India is a place where that money has to be parked.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Abhishek ji. I think this is, reminding me of something that Leo Tolstoy had said that the two most powerful warriors are patience and time. And especially when it comes to multiplication of money, and like Polasty always says, compounding of money in equity markets, it's all about patience and time. So thank you so much for that. With that, I'm going to request Jagruti Sheth to give her thoughts about establishing subsidiaries in India for Hong Kong and China based businesses. Over to you, Jagruti, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to be here today to speak on the opportunities and legal framework for Hong Kong and China based businesses looking to establish presence in India. Over the next few minutes, I will touch upon why, how, and what to keep in mind while setting up the subsidiary in India and what are the opportunities which are available. Hong Kong companies, especially in trading, fintech, and services, are increasingly exploring India both as a market as well as a global delivery hub. Now, what are the entry routes for establishing an entity in India? It can be by way of a wholly owned subsidiaries or the subsidiaries. Hong Kong and Chinese parent can hold 100% equity shares in India. There can be a joint ventures where they partner with an Indian entity for the growth. Now, just in a nutshell, the process is to obtain the digital signature for the directors and director identification numbers, reserve the company name through ROC portal, that is Register of Companies portal by Spice Plus form, file the incorporation documents like memorandum of association, articles of association, proof of office address, IDs of shareholders. And once incorporated, apply for permanent account number, tax deduction number, GST number, and simultaneously via this same MCA portal. However, there are few key points which are required to be kept in mind. It is mandatory that there should be a one Indian resident director when you are opening a corporate office in India. The process also requires filing of the various forms, which is always there everywhere, but there is a one single window clearance process for name approval, DIN, PAN, TEN, and it is optional for availing goods and service tax registration, employees provident fund, and insurance registration. Also, if you are dealing with the food industry, then you have to apply for the separate licenses. There is a requirement to maintain few documents out here, statutory registers, board meetings, and annual filings. Also, you have to check for the related party transactions. Main important point is with respect to income tax. Income tax, the corporate tax for domestic companies, unlike Hong Kong, which, as Thomas has rightly pointed out, it's very low compared to other jurisdiction. India as a company has a domestic taxation of 22% as normal, and if you are a manufacturing company, then 15% for the new manufacturing unit. But when you are a subsidiary of a Hong Kong a Hong Kong company, at that point in time, you have to first take into account the transfer pricing regulations, which applies to the transactions with the Hong Kong parent. This documentation is very critical as one need to have a benchmarking and transfer pricing agreement in place immediately upon incorporation to have the smooth commencement of the operations. Withholding tax on dividend, etc., currently 20% plus surcharge cess, subject to treaty relief, which India Hong Kong definitely says that there is no taxation in Hong Kong with respect to dividend or capital gains. From GST perspective, it is mandatory to get the registration if your turnover exceeds Indian rupees 40 lakhs for a business or 20 lakhs when you are into services. However, cross-border supply of services from Indian subsidiary to the holding company in Hong Kong and China is an export of services and does not attract any tax out here. One of the perspective which we are talking today is with respect to GIFT City. GIFT City in Gujarat offers a tax neutrality as a globally competitive zone. It includes 100% tax holiday for 10 years out of 15 years for IFSC units which are set up in GIFT City. As Hong Kong has become a financial hub now, the financial companies may explore the opportunities to invest in India through GIFT City, which will give them the tax advantage. One practical consideration for Hong Kong businesses is to conduct the tax efficient structuring analysis before the entry, evaluate the foreign exchange management regulations and FDI norms. Most of the sectors, though, have a 100% automatic route, but some sensitive sectors like telecom, defense, etc., requires approval from the Indian government. Proper due diligence on the compliance cost, statutory audit, GST filings, and transfer pricing documentation is mandatory. There are few companies which have already set up the entities, Chinese and Hong Kong based companies which have set up the entities in India and doing very well. One of them is CK Hutchison, which is in appearing in India as a Watson India, which is into retail health and beauty products, port and logistics, retail chains and port operations. Lee and Fung Sourcing, which is a supply chain management, sourcing and logistics for the global retailers. Swir Group is a shipping company, logistic company. Xiaomi, again, consumer electronics and smartphones. Huawei, which is telecom equipment and enterprise solutions. Lenovo, PCs and servers and enterprise solutions. These are the companies which are really doing well in India. They have been established in India since many years now. So, what is my take on establishing the companies in India by Hong Kong and China parents is to first look at the structuring first, keep the transfer pricing and other documentation proper, consider which is the location where you would like to set up the entity. That is the must for any entity which you set up, and of course, RNM always has to do in doing this. To sum up, India offers enormous opportunities, but success depends on structuring of it right. Therefore, come to India first, get the opportunities, get the advisory properly, get the setup done properly, and then establish your company to run with the success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jagruti ma'am. That was a great presentation on India as well as on Hong Kong companies who have found a great home in India. I just want to add one thing more, Jagruti ma'am, is, you know, I think like most places, India has become digital. And when India has
Yes.
become digital, the importance of discipline and timeliness of compliance has become very, very important. And I'm sure Thomas
Exactly.
from Hong Kong will resonate the same feeling, and most other people that, and maybe Abhishek also, because most banks today, some would make a joke, are run by the compliance guys rather than the sales guys. But yes, compliance has become such an important part, and I think a lot has got to do with the digital, footprint that every company has, and the plethora of compliance that one needs to, fulfill. And if you are not doing that in a timely manner, or you kind of miss out for a couple of months, it's very difficult to get back on track. And therefore, remaining compliant, I think, is the message, is clearly the message.
Correct.
And I think,
Definitely.
Abhishek, what would your thoughts being on compliance? I'm sure you have a lot of experience on that front.
So, compliance is the foremost important thing because it features into when we talk about the ratings or the safety of the bank, operational risk, which actually entails compliance as well, is an important thing. If I mention here, DBS is considered safest bank in Asia. That's a rating given by one of the US rating agencies. And even if we go globally, DBS features in the 13th position. So sometimes when the question is asked by people that why so many compliances, the important thing is because if they are entrusting their money to something, they should be happy that it's not a shop which is run by whims and fancy of the owners. There is a proper framework in place. There is a due diligence. There is a regulator, and now there is a lot of compliance being handled from India because as we are seeing that trend starting from the US, say $100,000 fees on the H-1B visa. There are functions of the banks which are moving to India, and once it happens from one country, then it is followed from the other countries also. Suppose if it is done by JP Morgan, then JP Morgan Hong Kong will also be inclined to move more functions to India, including compliance function.
Absolutely, great example. Polly, I want to invite your thoughts. Of course, you and me have been jointly, running the alternative investment fund in Gift City. What would be your message to other people who are looking at Gift City as a destination, who want to set up? What has been your experience in that journey, and what would you like to share to others? As say an objective person in that journey. Over to you, Polly.
Yes, so I think the PM clearly mentions the need of ease of doing business, So Gift City demonstrates that, when it comes to the financial services. And we feel it's the preferred way of managing foreign capital coming into India. And obviously the compliance and all is a lot easier there. So we feel it's the only way forward managing money into India, going forward.
Yes, and you also have interacted with the regulator in various forums, at conferences. And what has been your experience when you meet some of these regulators? Are they very open? Are they friendly? What has been your experience on the regulatory side?
Yeah, I mean, the experience has been fantastic. They clearly promoting Gift City as a financial hub. As I mentioned, it's a preferred way of managing foreign capital into India. The regulators are very, very, encouraging. The energy in GIFT City is unbelievable. There's no office space available. There's hospitals, buildings coming up. So clearly they're thinking 10, 15 years down the line. So as I said that, I think it's going to be a roaring success. And anybody looking to invest in India, I think any foreign investor looking to invest in India, I think GIFT City is the way forward.
Absolutely. Thomas, I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned a very important thing regarding fintechs that, in Hong Kong now, especially technology and fintech is a very, very important industry or sector. And, obviously, whenever we talk about finance, we talk about the equity market and we talk about investments. Do you think that there is a lot of opportunity of cross-border investments between India and Hong Kong? We heard Ninad that, it's the largest 2,700 single family offices are present in Hong Kong. That's a very, very large number. Obviously all the very rich billionaire Chinese have their family offices based out of China, out of Hong Kong. Do you think that there is this now cross-border, need for diversification of their portfolio, and some of that money is landing up in India? Over to you, Thomas.
Yes, thank you, Raghu. I think that yes, there will be golden opportunity for Hong Kong, to invest in India because we are representing a lot of mainland companies to go out. And then even though a lot of mainlanders, they would like to use Hong Kong as a hub to go overseas, and India is one of the destination because of the proximity, to China, proximity to Hong Kong. I see that yes, reversely there might be a lot of Indian companies coming to Hong Kong, family offices also, but they might be interested in financial technology because Hong Kong is now in alignment, with China's other city called Shenzhen, which is just across the border, where we house, big companies like Tencent and Huawei. There will be many opportunities between cross-border trade, cross-border business, cross-border cultural exchanges between Hong Kong and India. Definitely for sure. And in Hong Kong, we have a very large, significant large Indian community in Hong Kong. So we have very, very famous Indian families in Hong Kong. So they are sort of a family office in Hong Kong. So the answer is affirmative, positive.
Absolutely. Thank you. Ninad, you have some thoughts on the matter. Over to you, Ninad.
Yes, so I'll second to what Thomas mentioned, that, if we talk the other way around, there is a lot of scope for Indian fintech companies to explore Hong Kong market. One is the landscape is already developed, the ecosystem is already developed, which, India foresees to go up to that level. Hong Kong, as I've already mentioned, it has always been the global financial hub. And with that in perspective, the government has put in a lot of effort to build or to come to that level. And this is where, we as the Invest Hong Kong are, encouraging more fintech companies to come to Hong Kong, uh, make use of the already developed ecosystem. I have a dedicated fintech team in-house who can help in the entire facilitation, connections, in fact, if I have to talk about fintech, we have an upcoming event, a global event that is Hong Kong FinTech Week, that starts in the month of November, first week of November. If there are any fintechs attending this seminar or within the network of you guys, then I'll be happy to talk to these fintech giants and companies and explore them, the opportunity of coming to Hong Kong for and attending this event.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that. I just had one question. I thought Mr. Marwah could share his thought, Mr. Yuan Marwah, on whether you feel the taxation system in India is becoming tougher or is it becoming simpler? If you'd like to unmute yourself, and I thought that will be a very interesting way to summarize, the kind of change in business environment that is taking place.
The tax system in India is getting simplified. From the olden days when we used to be paying 50 and 60% tax, today normally is 30%, corporate tax is 22%, right? And a high tax bracket over 5 crores is 40%. Everything is getting digitalized now. So these much simpler. All the assessments now, even an investigation is faceless. So as long as you're declaring everything is digitalized, the government, before you file your return, is aware of your income. Right? The forms will show up on your computer. This is what you have earned. Because the information flow is such, with the result that everybody is now trying to pay taxes more honestly than in the olden days as they used to. So the system is improving tremendously. And we hope that this thing carries on so that in future, the compliance is there, yes, which is necessary. But the whole system and the environment is much easier to operate. And we look forward to that.
I think that is a great message because, whenever we talk about cross-border business, whether it's a Hong Kong company coming to India or an Indian company going to Hong Kong, I think most companies which are setting up in a new jurisdiction are very afraid of these kind of systemic issues which may lead to non-transparency. And if there is better governance, better compliance, easier tax rules, this enhances transparency in the system, which encourages more cross-border trade, whether it is Hong Kong India trade. It just makes life simpler for everybody because there is more predictability and more transparency on how business is to be done.
Yes, but compliance, yes, you've got to be very cautious and make sure you're compliant. That's it.
Yes, I think that's a great way. I think whether it's the equity markets, whether it's banking, whether it's fintech, or whether it's new company setup, I think we have heard this same story being resonated across different panelists. I want to thank all our panelists for their esteemed time and their views. And I would like to just end by quoting Theodore Roosevelt, who had said, believe you can, and you're halfway there. So, in this global order, we want to believe that we are building bridges between India and Hong Kong. All the panelists here are building bridges, and I'm sure we will and we can. So,
yes.
So much for everybody's time. Namaskar, and thank you all the attendees and all the delegates.
Thank you, Raghu. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good day to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.